Hello, my love, and welcome to this episode of Women, Sex, God, Power. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you'll know that in this space we go pretty deep into the topic of feminine oppression, all of the different forces and constructs that have affected your ability to actualize your feminine creative expression in this lifetime, and how to begin reclaiming your essence and your power and your authenticity and your boldness and ferocity so that you can live a little bit more authentically. I cover a wide range of topics on this podcast, but I am beginning to switch up the way that I express some of these episodes. And what I thought would be really, really nice is to sometimes do educational episodes and other times do storytelling episodes. Storytelling episodes gives me the opportunity to read, a little bit like a bedtime story, read some of the teachings that I've written for women that are taken from some of my signature feminine leadership programs to give you a bit of a glimpse into the work that I do with women inside of these private containers, but also because it's just a really nice opportunity for you to get to experience a different type of episode rather than me just teaching and throwing information at you, which can feel a little bit heavy and boring sometimes. In today's episode, I have written a teaching for women creatives and artists who are really looking to cultivate their creative essence over the next couple of years and reclaim the wild creative voice within them in order to begin fulfilling some of their potential. Your creative essence is the most powerful force that exists within you. It is your birthright to actualize that. It is your birthright to express it in the world. And it's often the part of us that is most subdued, criticized, shamed, judged, because it doesn't exist within this linear, patriarchal, masculine, logical, practical realm of existence that we have been forced to exist within. The wild, creative, feminine self is unpredictable, chaotic, unhinged, very, very expressive, and she responds to her environment appropriately, right? But often that appropriateness is what is shamed and dismissed. We are told to silence it and subdue it and ignore it and repress it. So on today's episode, we're looking at how to not only cultivate your creative essence, but also how to protect it. A non-negotiable contract that I have between myself and my creative practice and myself and everyone in my life is that my creativity comes first. It comes before everything else. And the people in my life know that they absolutely cannot disrupt, disturb, or interfere with that process in any shape or form. If they do, I tend to cut them off permanently. I'm being serious. I do not have any flexibility when it comes to my creative practice and what is going on outside of that, right? Unless, of course, there's an emergency that I need to tend to. But my creative practice comes before everything else. And for that reason, because I have such a disciplinary and also protective approach to it, this is what has enabled me to create at the level that I've created at over the years. And if you are a creative and an artist, then you need to begin learning how to protect and cocoon, especially if you have family or children or a partner. You need to begin learning how to protect and cocoon and advocate for your creative voice and essence in order for you to really actualize the essence inside of you, because this takes work, okay? Being an artist and a creative with big ideas and big visions, it can take a decade for you to fully actualize the depth and the power of what you carry. And so many women do not get to that place. They do not survive the culture and the society that is constantly infringing upon them, constantly pressuring them to go in a different direction and be something else. So the reason why my creative voice has not only survived, but also developed in its power is because quite literally I have told everyone around me to either respect that this is who I am, this is what comes first in my life, or fuck off. It's really that simple. I don't negotiate when it comes to my creative work, the time that I need to put aside every single day to be in that creative world. So, on today's episode, I'm going to read you something. I'm going to read you a teaching that I have written for women who come into my containers on how to protect their inner artist. How do you survive a world that doesn't actually desire for you to dedicate your time to creating art? More importantly, how do you protect your inner artist and creative self from the doom and gloom of a society so that she maintains her magic, her flair, her fire, her drive to create, regardless as to the naysayers, the agitators, the jealous passbyers, the hungry ghouls that feed off of others' misery, and those who were once artists themselves, but decided a very long time ago that the creative path was just too hard, too sorrowful, too heavy to bear, filled with too much discipline, too many requirements, and too little rewards to be worth pursuing. When you commit to your artistry and bringing whatever lies within you to the forefront of your existence for all to view, you also commit to actively nurturing, protecting, and directly advocating for your artist self. Whilst many other people might deem that there are better things to be doing with your time and your energy, at this point, rather than shriveling up into a people-pleasing version of yourself, you should respond with better things such as, or even better yet, ignore such people and get back to making art. But unfortunately, more often than not, artists, being the sensitive, natured creatures that we are, and emotional absorbers of other people's bad intentions, tend to drink these words into our heart and allow them to shape our future creative decisions. There are many gifted, brilliant artists who are, in many ways, a little too gifted for this world, a little too sensitive, a little too ahead of their time. Underappreciated because they are quite literally light years ahead of their time, ahead of a tasteless, desensitized society. And because they feel underappreciated, somewhere along the path to actualizing their creative greatness, they decide that it's simply not worth it. There are too many beasts to fight off, both inner beasts and beasts that appear in the form of abusive male lovers or abusive family members, encouraging them to quit. There are too many risks, too few returns, and what's the point of it all? I would like you to remember this when you begin to experience the very real and visceral feeling of despair and hopelessness and anguish when you start to believe that your creative projects are a waste of human life force and nothing worthwhile will emerge from the efforts that you're making. This feeling of doubt and heaviness and wanting to give up, the exhausted voice that may whisper, I really wish that we had never been born an artist, that we had never been born a highly sensitive woman who feels so much, who knows too much, who can sense things that others are not ready to sense or to witness within themselves or within the culture at large. Or when you begin to hear a voice whisper that it's not worth it, that it's not worth pursuing your art. Whilst everybody else is finding security and worldly success, you are wasting your time with frivolous pursuits. I want you to remember in these moments that this is not your true voice. This is the voice of society speaking through you. It is the voice of many other once upon artists who came before you, who decided to throw in the towel and call it a day on their art making process, to give up entirely. And that feeling of hopelessness and despair and will it ever work out is an extremely overpowering collective voice. It is the voice of so many who come in with a dream, who do not understand, perhaps in their naivety, that actualizing a dream, a vision, the struggle of doing so is a normal part of this human incarnation, and decide to give up too soon when it doesn't work out instantly, or when it doesn't even work out after 5 years or maybe a decade of trying. The voice of hopelessness and despair is a collective voice belonging to all of the artists who decided that the creative path wasn't worth it. And sooner than later, it begins to squirm and squeeze its way through the bodies, the consciousness, the beings of other creators and artists, bellowing through the hearts of every single artist who attempts to actualize their dreams here on Earth. And when that collective heaviness comes to visit, it's very important that you learn how to protect your inner artist, to recognize what is yours and what you have inherited from the culture, from your ancestors, from your parents, from your friends, from a society at large that doesn't want women to create. Because when women create, they remember their power. When women create, they recognize that they have far more control and influence over the direction of their life path than they have been made to believe that they do. One thing that I can assure you with absolute certainty is that no born-to-be artist incarnates on this earth filled with doubt and resistance and fear and reluctance to the creative path. When their soul knows that this is the place from which they will get to derive and experience the most magic and joy. Doubts, fears, pains, and vulnerabilities will naturally come up as you choose to commit to a life path that so few humans on this earth actually commit to and choose to believe in, with their whole heart and soul engaged in the entire process. So when these sorrows and doubts emerge and begin to speak through you, I want you to know that that is a normality. Every artist goes through this, and it doesn't mean that you should give up or stop creating. But what is not a normality is having to bear the weight of other people's bitterness, failures, hostility, and jealousy as they watch you pursue your creative aspirations with courage and determination, with dedication and enthusiasm. And in the process of pursuing your creative path, it is so important that you recognize what is truly yours. What is yours and what belongs to you? The creative gifts, the inspiration, the skills that you have been gifted by the divine, whether as a writer, a poet, a dancer, a singer, a performer, an instrumentalist, a comedian, an architect, and so forth. What is yours is your joy and your curiosity. Without either of these, there can be no creative pursuits. Your joy and curiosity fuel creative acts. The curiosity to haul and drag out whatever creative genius exists within you, beyond what appears to be apparent and reachable, and the joy that lies on the other side of birthing these creations and bringing them to fruition. These are yours to nurture, to enjoy, to honor, and to protect. And no one has the right to remove or ban you from experiencing something which was intentionally gifted to you with a hope that you might come to know of the inner beauty that you possess. It is your duty to yourself and to the collective to learn how to actualize that creative power, to protect it, to shield it from the negativities of the world, and to be relentless, warrior-like, courageous, and uncompromising in the pursuit and the act of bringing it into physical form. This is your duty. It is a contract that you signed between you and the universe before coming down to experience life in your specific human form, and it is your duty to your soul to bring whatever lies inside of you into existence, to remind people of the magic and the beauty and the innocence and the power that we are all able to experience and actualize here on this earth, if we commit to the creative process. What is not yours and does not belong to you? The burden and weight of your parents' unfulfilled dreams to bear, carry, and accomplish on behalf of them. I implore you to relinquish and cut yourself free from any of these expectations. What is also not yours? Others' fear of their own power, and so their fear of yours. And therefore, their expectation that you must stifle, diminish, and dumb down your talent and power to evade triggering and upsetting the egos of those who are not ready to bear witness to the light of a creative woman emanating from her being, who seek to diminish it, destroy it, and snuff it out because it is a painful reminder of a lack of courage and creative discipline and power and light that they have embodied within their own self. This is one of the most difficult burdens to relinquish because of what has been imprinted within a collective of women for centuries. Look pretty, talk little, and shapeshift to accommodate others, and don't disrupt the narrative that has chained and tied too many women to their family's side, to a man's side, with the intention of ensuring that they never break loose, find their own voice, and begin to influence other women to unleash their creative genius, as well as their intellect and power of expression. This is a difficult burden to relinquish, and it cannot be done in a day or a week or a month, or even sometimes years. It takes time to unravel yourself from the notion that you were not designed to carry other people's burdens and unfulfilled potential, and their ill feelings and toxic notions on how you should conduct yourself as an individual, as a woman. But none of these are yours to bear. Not the jealousies that others project onto you, not their rage or resentment or terrible attitude towards life as a whole, and on what it means to pursue the creative path. The act of protecting your creative world and your inner artist, and all the elements and ingredients which contribute towards you desiring to create. Curiosity, courage, joy, wonder, daydreaming, possibility, should and must be protected. Take advice from artists who you admire and who have made a success out of their life, and completely ignore the advice of all those who have committed themselves to a one-dimensional, stagnant, fear-based experience of reality. The life of a coward who sits on the internet judging your creative choices, your freedom of self-expression, watching you pursuing your desires, expressing your vulnerabilities, and intervenes with some horrendous feedback with the intention of shutting your creative expression and power down, making you doubt yourself, making you heavily question your right to make your inner artist and your creative essence visible to the world. These people are very much like demons, and their intention is to pull you off path, to distract you, to fill your consciousness with the voices of doubt, self-criticism, perfectionism, sometimes even self-hatred, so that you begin to share less of yourself, or change the way you express yourself, begin morphing into a more pleasing, appeasable, digestible, one-dimensional, easy to understand, predictable, traditional, conventional version of what people expect a woman should be. These naysayers and haters know exactly what they are doing, and their intention is to ensure that you stop creating, that you stop taking up space, that you stop daring to reach beyond the boundaries and the linears of what women have been told they can and should be and are allowed to be, so that you never achieve the one thing that society fears the most: a woman who lives freely and wildly and is a relentless and unapologetic reminder to other women of what it looks like to live freely in your femininity, to live freely embodied in your womanhood. I am pressing pause on this episode for just a moment because I am incredibly excited to introduce the very first of its kind business immersion for creatives, artists, and aspiring entrepreneurs. Created specifically for multi-dimensional creatives, artists, visionaries, wild women, mystics, educators, soul-led women who crave a feminine and intuitive approach to doing business. This is for the visionary woman who refuses to choose between her art and abundance. The woman who knows that she is here to create, lead, and leave a legacy, but wants to do it in a way that honors her energy, her cycles, her spirit, her gifts. If you have been searching for a business program that makes space for your creativity, who you are, in your multidimensionality, in your complexity, in your wilderness as a woman, and which makes space for your spirituality and your deep feminine knowing and wisdom, whilst also giving you the grounded tools to build a profitable, sustainable business that consistently yields wealth, then let me introduce you to the Aquarian Woman's Business Blueprint, a complete business ecosystem designed to help you merge your creativity with your passions, with your purpose, so that you can create a magnetic brand, a profitable business, and a legacy that feels like you. This isn't just another how-to business course. This is a full spectrum rebirth of how you view yourself as a creator and a leader, and a vessel and a channel for divine work in the world. Inside, you'll be learning how to reawaken your wild feminine creator, channeling your soul into every piece of work that you offer, turning your soul gifts into both potent and sellable offers. You will learn how to build a business the feminine way, using decolonized practices, intuitive and sustainable strategies. You're also going to learn how to use your key astrological placements in order to elevate and design your content, your brand voice, and magnetic marketing. You'll learn how to master the energetics of money, heal money blocks, and rewire your nervous system to be able to receive. You will master both practical strategy and feminine energetics to ensure that you consistently hit 4-figure months. And you're also going to learn how to attract a cult following, again, aligned with key astrological placements in your chart, so that you pull in an audience that truly supports your message, your vibe, and your vision. You're also going to learn how to package your creative ideas into high-ticket signature offers that consistently sell. And you're going to be given the exact blueprint on how to do this in alignment, again, with key wealth-making placements, such as your 2nd house, your 8th house, your Venus, and your Jupiter. And you're going to learn how to create systems that support automation, freedom, and scalability so that you can spend more time doing what you love whilst consistently watching the cash flow in. And probably my most favorite part of this immersion is that you're going to learn how to combine storytelling, astrology, rituals, spellcasting, and heart-centered strategy to build your creative empire, turning your art into a movement and connecting with a loyal, devoted fan base, so that your creative mission impacts and transforms countless lives. If anything I have said is resonating deeply in the core of your being, then it's most likely that the Aquarian Woman's Business Blueprint is for you. And frankly, the only program that merges decolonized creative practices with honoring the way of a wild woman, the witch, the priestess, the mystic, whilst also showing you how to create a highly successful business through strategy, marketing, planning, organizing your content, and magnetic branding and sales. If you would like to learn more about this business immersion, then you can check the show notes of this episode, where you will have the option to either book a free call to connect with me in person or a member of my team to find out if this business immersion is the next right step to support you in actualizing both your creative dreams and aspirations and financial fulfillment. You can also send me a DM via my Instagram if you're not ready to get on a call. So check the show notes for this episode, where you'll find all of the details there. And I sincerely hope that I get to connect with you in person soon. Lots of love and enjoy the rest of this episode. When a young artist chooses to pursue the path of creativity and bringing a seemingly impossible vision to life, unfortunately, they are neither taught nor encouraged of the importance of protecting and shielding themselves from the misery and destructive words and behaviors of those who have become consumed by their own grief, sorrow, rage, trauma, and suffering. Is there any greater force on this planet that an artist needs to protect themselves from other than that? Well, that and people who seek to use and benefit from your creative power and harvest it and use it for their own agenda. You must make it a ritual to regularly purify, cleanse, remove, and clear away the distractions or destructive forces, which includes family members and sometimes even your closest friends, by the way, and anything else present within your inner world, which is not positively aiding your creative practice and the birth of your creations. This is what all young girls should be taught. They should be taught that they possess an incredibly precious but exceptionally delicate and fragile spark within them, which is a universe unto itself that contains a vortex of creation, waiting to be coaxed and encouraged from its nest, from its cocoon, and which can only truly thrive in an environment and landscape which is in favor of wild, feminine creative expression, which offers the right ingredients, nourishing materials which would enable a young girl to play, to discover, to piece together a unique and perhaps strange, but nonetheless valuable offering and expression of her inner world. Free from the forces that seek to kill off such expression from thriving before it's even had the chance to emerge from its delicate bud. These forces being judgment, expectation, mockery, harshness, shame, and humiliation. What every young girl requires is to be protected from such forces and to be surrounded instead by those that will uplift and nourish and guide and help her to grow her unique expression. So that by the time that all young girls reach adulthood, instead of being riddled and overcome with self-doubt, anguish and insecurities and the voice of fear, and imposter syndrome and an inner bully that prevents them from trusting in their own creative voice, that they're not good enough, they don't deserve to be seen, they're not safe to be visible, and they have nothing of true value to offer. Instead, they will have engineered and orchestrated an inner landscape which is rich and abundant with an encouraging, motivating, disciplining, and joyful attitude, and which keeps them fiercely engaged with the process of actualizing their creative path, regardless as to what others think or say. Being an artist will always make you vulnerable to the feedback of others. When your highly sensitive system is designed to remain wide open to life's impressions, so that you can grasp and experience as many different dynamics, contrasting emotions, and experience as much as possible, it also becomes more likely that you will absorb and experience and take in impressions which do not feed or encourage your inner world to blossom and thrive. This is the gift of being a highly sensitive artist, but it can also be a curse. You absorb everything that the world and others have to offer. The beauty, the magic, the filth, the fear, the ideologies, and perhaps even the philosophies of men who do not care to see you live out your creative aspirations or to fulfill your fullest potential. In a nutshell, there is so much that you can and will absorb, and most of it isn't very useful or supportive to the art-making process. So if you truly desire to walk the creative path, my love, and actualize your artistic expression, then this is a practice that you must commit to. Cleanse yourself of the impressions that you have picked up until now that have not been especially useful, nourishing, or supportive, and sometimes downright invasive and destructive and burdensome to your art-making process. How much of my inner narrative must change so that there is space within my psyche, my being, and my external environment, which enables me to orchestrate my life on my own terms, free from the impositions of others. It is much harder to pull an artist off path when they have stubbornly claimed that path as the only one that they desire to walk. It is harder to sway an artist from fulfilling their desires and creative ambitions when they have already decided, vowed, and made a pact with the gods, their inner child, their ancestors, the forest elves, and whoever else they have decided will help them claim and actualize their creative mission. Come rain, thunder, or shine. So this is a commitment that you must make to yourself. Not once, not twice, but every single day that you sit down to create art. Vow to yourself that no external distractions or forces will come between you and the sacred commitment of bringing your creative essence to fruition. Many artists that have come before you and me understood that this was the only way to maintain their creative spark and enthusiasm to walking the artist's path and the wild woman's path. You must make a sacred commitment between yourself and every single piece of art, every single idea that you have dedicated your time to bringing into being. It is through your vows to your creative muses and to our own self that we will not allow ourselves to be pulled away from our work. The work that so deeply matters to our heart and enriches our life with the deepest meaning. It is through making this vow to yourself, to your creative muses, that the path ahead then becomes less obstructed, far clearer, and far more pleasant and enjoyable to walk. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and the storytelling format, which sometimes can feel a bit easier to receive versus educational episodes where I can throw a lot of material at people and it can feel harder to integrate and ground. So let me know if you like these types of episodes and if I should do more of them. Before you go, I just want to let you know that I have a brand new free masterclass called Creative Fempire, the 3 steps to monetizing your art. This is for multi-dimensional creatives, artists, the wild woman, the witchy woman, the woman who has never been able to fit herself into the very linear, suffocating way of doing social media, doing business, promoting her work, promoting her art, and is looking for a unique and unconventional formula to monetizing her work. This masterclass is the first step to giving you those tools. I have taken everything that I have personally learned from building 2 multi-6-figure businesses, one as a singer and songwriter for myself and for other artists over 10 years ago now, well, about 10 years ago, and as a mentor and teacher. I built my feminine empowerment business from the ground up with no mentor, no help, no guidance, no one to show me a way that really worked for my neurodivergence, my chaotic creative mind, my desire also to be able to teach on a variety of topics and not just stay within one realm, which a lot of business models offer women, but they don't offer this more expansive format that allows you to become a successful, financially successful artist and creative, working with your uniqueness. This is what this masterclass is going to give you. Do go register and sign up to watch it. It's for free. You can sign up and watch it in the show notes of this episode now. The last thing I want to mention, my love, is that I've just launched my new business immersion, the Aquarian Woman's Business Blueprint, for creatives and artists who are looking to monetize their art through developing their entrepreneurial skills, their business skills, but also deepening their creative voice, finding the courage to express that creative voice in the world. This immersion, I can say with full confidence, is the very first of its kind. It is the only business program that I know of that combines practices to help you decolonize your creativity, decolonize your relationship with business and money, learn how to run a feminine cyclical business, learn how to create beautifully crafted high ticket offers that sell consistently, a program within which your artistry and your finances both get to thrive, where you can bridge the gap between your inner artist and your inner CEO and begin to actualize your business vision and your creative vision with success. We are also exploring your astrological placements that are guaranteed to ensure that you attract wealth, you attract clients, that you attract a community and audience that resonate with your work, by ensuring that you brand and position and express yourself in total alignment with these wealth-making and career placements. Whilst most business programs cater to the majority, the masses, the neurotypical, conventional, traditional way of doing business, they can feel very masculine and stagnating and boring, to be frank. The difference with the Aquarian woman's business blueprint is that it is allowing you to expand your creativity, not diminish it or tone it down or reduce it to work with social media algorithms, but actually allow you to develop the system, the structure, the strategy that enables your creative work to thrive whilst making a shit ton of money. This is a very unique path to building a business as a creative and artist. And you don't need to have any prior business experience in order to make a success out of it. All you need is one idea, the determination, the courage, the will to show up and really lay the business foundations to get that idea off the ground and start making money with it. And the beauty of this program is that I'm literally giving you all of the structure, all of the strategy, how to design a sales page, how to call in the right audience, how to position your offers, what messaging to use, all of the details, the ins and outs that you could possibly ever need in order to build a thriving business. And I'm giving you all of this at such an incredible price. I can confidently say that the material inside of this program would probably cost you around $20,000 if you were going between mentors or investing in other business programs in order to get the amount of information, wealth, guidance, step-by-step process that you are getting inside of the Aquarian Woman's Business Blueprint. So I can confidently say that there is nothing else out there quite like it. And what I'm giving you is my personal experience having figured out how to build a multi-six-figure business as a complex, multi-dimensional woman who identified with being an artist and a creative and had no business experience whatsoever. So this has really been established as a result of days and weeks and months and years of grit and discipline and refining things to ensure that if you are a creative and an artist who has no prior business experience, this is a system and a way of being that you will absolutely be able to make work for you, regardless as to whether you want to teach, whether you want to perform, whether you are a musician or a songwriter who wants to monetize their work. It really caters to every creative and artist out there, but especially creatives and artists that want to learn the art of selling and marketing digital products. Services where you are teaching, offering one-to-ones, online course programs, masterclasses. It is especially geared towards women who are looking to really package their work into an offer and sell it consistently. So if this sounds like something that you really, really want to dive into or explore in more depth, you can book a free 10-minute call with either me or my sales assistant, Vanessa. Vanessa has already taken my feminine leadership program, She Rebelled. So she is extremely well versed in my teaching style, in the experience of coming into one of these programs, how it changes you, transforms you, the newfound confidence and courage that it provides you with to be able to take your vision out into the world and make a success out of it. So you can either book in a call with me or with Vanessa. I will leave a link to that call in the show notes of this episode, and it would be an honor to connect with you in person and answer any other questions that you have about how this business immersion can support you in actualizing your creative power. I hope that you loved this episode. Please make sure that you go rate the show, and also do leave comments in the comment section to give me your feedback and let me know what you would like me to podcast on more. I love hearing from the women that consume these episodes. It nurtures my heart and my spirit. So please do reach out to me, and I will see you next time.